Welcome to Kimmel's Irish Pub. Time for another movie review. Tonight's movie, Elvis. So the story about Elvis Presley from when he's a kid, growing all the way up until he became a music and a movie star. And I guess there's a relationship between him and Colonel Tom Parker or something like that. Tom Parker. How about that? Who's played by Tom Hanks. The only thing I've heard about this movie, it has gone silent since this came out, was that they didn't like the Tom Hanks portrayal of or Colonel Tom Parker, whatever. Austin Butler plays Elvis, and anybody else in it? Nobody. But I don't know. Oh, Luke Bracey's in it. I know him. He's down the line here a little bit, but 7.7 on IMDb. So there you go. 66,476 people rated so far. So that's pretty good. I haven't heard comments or, I see things on Facebook, on TikTok. Nothing about this film. I have no idea. And to be honest with you, I just texted my sister. I'm pretty sure my mom was a big Elvis fan, but I don't know. And I thought my sister was a big Elvis fan. I thought she loved Elvis. I just texted her and said, hey, I'm watching Elvis tonight. And she's like, tell me how it is. I'm watching it at home. Obviously, she didn't go to the theater to see it. I'm watching it digitally. So maybe she wasn't. I don't know. I'll text her back once we get into it here a little bit, and I'll let you know in a check-in. I know you're dying to know. You're probably like, I didn't even know you had a sister. I don't even care. I want to know more about the movie. So let me get into it. 2 hours and 39 minutes long. Good weekend movie. So we'll see where it goes. I'll be back. Hey everybody, I want to do a quick check-in here. We're watching Elvis. We're at the 1 hour, 26 minute, and 58 second mark. So over halfway. Just stopped it right here on purpose. So thinking about the timeline of this movie, so the movie's all about Elvis, right? I mean, I can't help you with the plot. You know what it's about, right? If you know who Elvis is, essentially a kid who grows up and becomes a rock and roll star, right? And all the trials and tribulation. He started singing and dancing, gyrating his hips, pelvis Elvis, whatever, and that got him in a lot of trouble back in the 50s. And yeah, 50s is really when he got in trouble for it. They're saying it was lewd and crude and not meant for TV and drove all the girls crazy kind of stuff. And back then, you think about it, back then segregation was going on, and and so people were a little bit more reserved than they are today. So that struck people wrong, so he had to deal with that. Got drafted. This is all known. This is not ruining the movie. Got drafted, whatever, went into movies, into TV, so on and so forth. So it's really just showing that whole timeline for him. Very, very interesting. I think it's really good. I don't get the Tom Hanks, why people didn't like Tom Hanks. I mean, he's Tom Hanks playing some guy I never knew. Never knew about Colonel. Whatever his name was, Tom, the Colonel, whatever, the manager of all this. And anyway, the reason I stopped it here, although the movie's good, interesting, seems like there's a lot left, is because during these times, a lot of things happen. Like I mentioned, segregation, race riots, all that kind of stuff, which is awful. And they don't go into it in great detail, which is fine. But I think about it from different generations, right? And maybe my younger generation who will be old enough to watch this at some point and want to know a little bit more about Elvis. They talk about Martin Luther King, which is fine. Everybody should know what happened with Martin Luther King and knew what he stood for and all that stuff. Bobby Kennedy, I think that's going to get lost on people. It happened during this time, and it's a significant moment in the movie, but they don't explain, what Bobby Kennedy was doing and possibly why he was assassinated. Dive into that, and I think that might get lost on people. Younger generation. I don't know. So that kind of stuck out to me. But it is interesting. seeing this all as they portray it on the screen, and coming back to the realization of, you know, racism and segregation back then. And it was cool, like him and B.B. King were good friends. And I will spoil this one part, it's not a spoiler, but he's playing at a stadium, and they have it roped off, and whites only, you know, colored over here. And there's a part where, and I thought this was cool, like he breaks out and he just starts, everybody starts having fun, and the white people are like waving, you know, the black people, come on over, you know what I mean, and they jump over and they're all dancing and singing and having a good time. Of course, you know, the police and everybody didn't like that, but it was neat to see that. Like, it's, you know, it's not like everybody wanted to be segregated. It's just the way it was, and people were like, no, we'd have a good time if we're all together, kind of stuff. So that was rewarding to see. So that's why I stopped it here. But otherwise, it's pretty interesting. Like I said, it seems a little long, but we'll see where it goes. Stick around. I'll be back. Hopefully it's not as long as this review. I'll be back. Hey everybody, we're at the credits of Elvis here, and I have to say I really did enjoy the movie. I realized as I just did that, I forgot to tell you, my sister did love Elvis. She just hasn't seen the movie yet. I know you're all waiting to hear that, but I thought it was tremendous. Austin Butler, I think, was phenomenal as Elvis. I mean, you could tell he wasn't Elvis, but I mean, like, what a great job he did. I mean, when he's performing on stage, you couldn't tell the difference. Now, when you're watching them, you know, act in regular scenes, you could see it. But I mean, amazing, like how well I think he did. Like, I mean, obviously to dance like Elvis, but to perform and do everything like that, it was really hard to tell. So I thought that was great. I mean, Tom Hanks is Tom Hanks in every movie, whatever. But the story is unbelievable. You think about, like, hey man, I'd like to be Elvis. Be careful what you wish for. You know, the king of rock and roll. Or, you know, I mean, like, what he went through in his entire life is, you know, hard. I mean, like I said, like everything that I set up before, and it continues to carry on. And evidently, you know, like a lot of artists do, a lot of people who come to fame and fortune get caught up with the manager or the, you know, the business side of things, and you know, they're just there to make money, or not make money, make music, right? And people would take advantage of them, and that's hard to see. What I did like about this was the light that they put Elvis in. I don't know anything about Elvis. I don't know, you know, I know what I know. I know a lot more now, but they really depicted him in, I think, a very favorable light. So that's the way I'm going to choose to think of Elvis going forward. There might have been other movies where maybe that's not the case, but in this case, this is interesting. I mean, you know, he wasn't without his flaws. You know, maybe he had some opportunities as a husband, or, you know what I mean, like that kind of stuff, but they don't show him in a very, very terrible light, which I thought maybe they would, you know. They really, you know, everything that led up to his demise, you know, they don't focus on, and they really make it about him and more about his struggles and his triumphs than his failures. So I like that a lot. So I thought he did good. I like the girl who played Priscilla Presley, and I thought, you know, the music's phenomenal. Just listening, I don't know if Austin sang it or if it was really just Elvis. If it was Austin, that was amazing. But you know, listen to all his songs. I thought he was fantastic. Two things. One's a question for everybody, if you're with me. Who wrote his songs? Did he write them? I know he wrote the one song, the protest song, right? So we saw that. That's in the movie. But everything else, that's not laid out in this movie. And so I don't know if he wrote them or they were written for him. I'm assuming they were written for him. Just interesting. Popped up for me. Two. Wow, they show from a child to his death, the entire movie. The beginning part is missing, I think. Sure, we see his inspiration through gospel music and rhythm and blues, and I get that from a young kid, you know, growing up in the South. I see that. But then they just jump forward to his teenage years, early 20s, whatever it was, where he's already has a record deal, already is signed with somebody. I want to see that part. Where's that part where he finds out, like, okay, he's inspired. How do you find out you can sing, play the guitar, make music? There's a great part where he is getting the whole orchestra and the backup singers all to do what he wants based on his thought. Like, when he was a child, how did he figure out he was that talented? To get him all the way up to there. There's a gap they missed, I think, for me. I get it, they wanted to focus on once he became an artist, here's what he went through. And it was a long movie. Now, Jeff, you're asking for more? Yes, I'm asking for more. You know, I wanted to see that part. So, it doesn't take away from what the movie was. I'm just saying that was one little piece that I am very interested in now because I saw this whole film. So, there you go. I wish my mom was around to see it. I wonder how she would like it. And I'll be interested to see what my sister says. And I'm sure you will be too. Maybe if we're lucky, she'll comment. Maybe. We'll see. So, alright, that's it. The movie was long. The review's probably longer. But I appreciate you tuning in. Kimmel's Irish Pub.